Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something that's at the very heart of cybersecurity, finding those hidden weaknesses, those unlocked digital doors, before the bad guys do. Let's jump right in. So, let me ask you something. Think about your own digital world for a second. Your laptop, your phone, even your home Wi-Fi. How many unlocked doors do you think there are right now? Just waiting. Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? Well, today, we're going to look at exactly how security pros figure that out. So what do we actually call these weak spots? Well, in the biz, they're known as vulnerabilities. And really, it's just a weakness or a flaw in a system. The absolute best way to picture it is to think of your computer like a house. A vulnerability is that unlocked door, or maybe an open window you forgot about. Either way, it's a point of exposure. And if we stick with that house idea for a second, every single computer connected to a network has literally thousands of these potential entry points. We call them ports. And just like the doors and windows on your house, they're designed for traffic to come and go. For web browsing, for email, that kind of thing. But each one is a potential way in. The real question is, which ones are locked up tight and which ones are just wide open? Now, you might think finding these things is just random luck, right? Nope. Both the good guys and the bad guys follow a really structured process, a methodology. And finding these vulnerabilities, that's just one super critical step in a much bigger playbook. And that playbook usually has four main steps. First is reconnaissance. That's just a fancy word for gathering as much public info as you can about your target. Then comes the part we're focused on today, scanning. This is where you actively start poking and prodding the target to find those open doors. After that, you've got exploitation, which is trying to actually use a vulnerability to get in. And finally, maintaining access, so you can get back in later if you need to. And believe me, this isn't just for show. Following a method is absolutely crucial. As this quote says, it's a foundational step that turns this huge, complex process into something you can actually manage. Basically, scanning is the bridge you cross from just looking around to actively testing a system's defenses. So, how in the world do you check thousands of ports for tens of thousands of known vulnerabilities? You're definitely not doing it by hand. You use automated tools, and these are the real heroes of our story today, vulnerability scanners. Okay, but before we jump into the specific tools, there's a really key difference we need to get straight. These scanners, they perform what's called a vulnerability assessment. They find the problems and they report on them. That's it. This is totally different from a penetration test, where an ethical hacker takes that next step and tries to exploit those weaknesses. So think of these scanners as creating a detailed security report, not a digital lockpicking kit. All right, let's talk about the tools of the trade. Now, there are a bunch of specialized scanners out there, but two of the biggest names you'll hear for network scanning are Nessus and OpenVAS. Nessus is an absolute giant in the industry. It's one of the oldest and most trusted scanners around. Then, on the open source side, you've got this amazing free alternative called OpenVAS, which is powered by a massive community. Both are incredible tools for any security pro. Okay, so we've got the tools, but what does running one of these scans actually look like? Come on, let's walk through the whole process, from setting it up to getting that final report. It's actually pretty straightforward. First, you configure a policy, which is just setting the rules for the scan. A big one is enabling safe checks so you don't accidentally crash anything. Second, you define your targets. Basically, you just tell it which computers you're allowed to scan. Third, you hit launch and just let the tool do its thing. And finally, the most important part, you get to analyze the report. And this is what you get. The scanner spits out its findings in a really clear summary. You can see every vulnerability it found, the exact computer that's affected, and, this is the key part, a severity rating. It tells you exactly how serious each problem is. So let's look at a sample from one of our sources. The very first thing the scanner did was just look for what computers were even on the network, and in this case, it found 50 of them. You see, you can't protect what you don't know you have, so this step is all about mapping out the digital terrain. So out of those 50 machines, here's what the scanner found. You can see it right here on the chart. It found 9 high-severity flaws. Those are the big ones, the fix-this-right-now problems. It also found 6 medium-risk issues and 14 that were just informational. And that's the real magic of these tools. They don't just dump a list of problems on you. They help you prioritize.
For defenders, the rule is simple. You always start with the high-severity stuff that could have let an attacker take complete control.
Okay, so you run the scan, and now you have this mountain of data. You know what's broken and how bad it is, but so what? What's the point? Let's connect the dots from all this data to actual defense.
Well, the whole point here isn't just finding flaws for the sake of it. It's about getting actionable intelligence. A vulnerability report is a roadmap. It's a to-do list for the defense team, and it's already perfectly sorted by risk. It means they can pour all their energy into fixing those 9 unlocked front doors before they even think about worrying about something minor, like a squeaky window hinge. It's all about making smart, efficient security decisions.
Which brings us to our final thought. The digital world is always in motion. New vulnerabilities pop up every single day. And that creates this constant cat-and-mouse game between the attackers and the defenders. So with all these tools and techniques, it all boils down to one simple question. Who finds the vulnerability first? The people trying to protect the system or the ones trying to break in? Thanks for joining me.